Sequence the translations of parallelogram ABCD along vectors H, G, and FE. Label the translated images. So first we are going to use HG, which is this vector here. So we need to extend the line through the vector in the direction that it points. Then we need to take our tracing paper and we need to trace the parallelogram and just the vector. Now we are going to slide along the line until the end matches up with the point underneath, making sure that we stay on that line. So we have these points here. And we are going to connect them using a straight edge. And label it A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Now we need to translate along FE. So we are going to extend the line through that vector. And we are going to trace our shape. We can use the same paper, just erase the other vector, and the vector F to E. Then slide. Making sure it stays on the line and matches the tail with the tip. Now they get double primes. Number 2 says, what do you notice about AD and BC? So AD and BC compared to A prime, D prime, and B prime, C prime. They are the same length. And parallel. And then it says explain. Translations preserve distance. So the distance between these points and those points stays the same, which makes them remain parallel. And they're the same length because their distance between A and D stay the same, so that keeps it the same length. Then it says, are the segments A prime, B prime, and A double prime, B double prime equal in length? Well, yes. And how do you know? The sequencing of translations still preserves distance. Even though we've done a translation twice, a translation still preserves distance. Number 4, given the curved shape ABC along the given vector, so we're translating this. Step 1 is to extend our vector in the direction that it is pointing. Then we are going to trace our vector. And our shape. Remember to slide until it matches up at the point. But we also want to make sure that we aren't angling off of that line that's underneath. We need to make sure that it stays straight along the line. Then we can push in the corners to give us a good idea of where those are located. And then we can retrace over that just to give us a better sketch to use for underneath. And you can kind of see that it indents the paper a little bit for us. But we're still going to want to use a straight edge in that section because we just did a sketch. The curved part doesn't need a straight edge because it's not straight, but you want to do your best to follow along that line that you see. Then we're going to label the image. A prime, B prime, C prime. And then it says what vector would map the shape A prime, B prime, C prime back to ABC. How could we go from here to here? If I wanted to move back to here, I would just need to translate back along the vector that I went on. So instead of going from E to F, this time we're going to go from F back to E. So you just reverse the letters. If it starts at E and goes to F, we would say EF, and the point would be going to the F. That's what we started with. And so to get back, we're going to switch the letters. We don't want that one, we want this one to go backwards.